I want to thank everyone for coming on board for the next 2 hours of trading. We're going to be trading with Nadex binary options. I've got a great guest on board, Sean Jance from Binary Trade Group. My name is Cam White, and I work with Trading Pub. I'm the in-house Nadex guru. And before we get started here, I want to get a little bit of a check on how many people here have actually traded with Nadex before or are currently trading with Nadex. And Jana's going to put out a poll. So if you'll just take a couple minutes, this will give me an understanding of how fast or how slow or how remedial I need to be. Okay. Past couple times I've done this, the mix has been about 50-50. Today it's about 66-33. I'm just going to give it another 30 seconds or so. Right now we have 21 respondents. Please take a moment to just hit the poll and let me know whether you currently trade Nadex or not. Sabrina says not yet, but still have a good understanding of it. Okay, that gives me a good handle on it. Now, for those of you who do not trade Nadex, we're going to put up a second poll question because I want to get an understanding of what instruments you currently trade. So you have a choice between futures, forex, options, stocks, or nothing. I'm brand new to trading. Little heavily weighted on the forex side. That's good. I have a strategy I can talk about at the tail end of this presentation. It's pretty reliable for forex pairs on Nadex. Okay, excellent. Well, let's get started. My name is Cam White, and for the next 2 hours, we're going to be talking about trading binary options during the lunchtime hours. And today is a pretty interesting day because we got the FOMC announcement this afternoon. We've got just a lot of things that are happening that actually present opportunities. And I think between now and then, you'll have a great understanding of how a couple of traders have planned for this type of day trading Nadex binary options. So for those of you who have not traded Nadex, I'm going to do a quick 15-minute introduction on what Nadex is all about. But first, I need to cover the disclaimer. And trading binary options involves risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. You should carefully consider whether trading is suitable for you in light of your circumstances, knowledge, and financial resources. And always remember that past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. This is going to be we're going to be actually trading the markets live. And the information published here is educational in nature and is designed to contribute to your overall understanding of how I use technical analysis to trade Nadex binary options and Nadex spreads. I am in no way recommending the purchase, sale, or short sale of any securities, options, futures, or other financial instruments. I'm not a financial advisor or registered analyst. So just please understand that when you trade with Nadex binary options, as with any other instrument, it can involve substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Okay, first I'm going to do a shameless plug. Trading Pub, we provide top quality education for stocks, options, futures, forex, and Nadex. We just released this week our second book on trading Nadex. It's called Nadex Warriors, Learning by. There is a free link to that book, as well as our first book, Trading Made Simple, Strategies That Risk Less Than 100. Between these two books, there's about 18 strategies from 7 authors, and Jana has just posted links to both of those books. So you can click on them, download them, they're free. And if you currently trade Nadex binary options, or if this presentation sings to you, you're going to be armed with some great high probability strategies for trading with Nadex. About myself, I'm a partner relationship manager for Trading Pub, and what I'm responsible for doing is engaging with speakers and presenters and booking them for ebooks, for presentations like this, and I'm also Trading Pub's in-house Nadex expert. That's what I was assigned to do when I first came on board in June of last year. I publish a monthly newsletter for Nadex called the Probability Report, where I put out a whole calendar of free Nadex educational events. I have a personal blog called The Inquisitive Trader, where I break down trades that I've done with Nadex, and that includes a trade of the day. And now I also am a featured writer for Nadex's own blog. Okay, so Nadex in a nutshell, it's very similar to traditional trading with one caveat. Every trade has a time element to it. So when you trade Nadex binary options or Nadex spreads, you are making a decision about the direction of a market relative to a strike price within a defined time period of your choosing. So it's a binary decision. It's yes or no. Will the market be above the strike price or below this strike price by 11 a.m.? Each trade has a maximum value of $100 per contract traded. That means the absolute most you can win or lose per trade is $100, and you always know your maximum risk and maximum reward before you trade. So if you don't like the idea of a trade running away from you or getting you stopped out or whatever and taking a big loss, this is not a bad option to consider for trading. You're making a decision once again about the likely direction of a major market, just like you do with any other trade. And as long as the trade is active within the defined time period that you have chosen, you cannot get stopped out. You can hold your trade until expiration, or you can exit the trade early if you feel that you've made enough profit, or if you want to reduce losses if the market is running against you. So let's take an example of how a binary option would work. Let's say that it's 12 o'clock noon and the current price of gold is 11.15 and climbing. And you've got a good strategy in your back pocket for trading gold futures. All of your indicators agree that gold is going to be on an uptrend. And you believe that the price of gold will not go down when the pits close at 1:30. If you believe that gold will close above 11.10 and there's a strike price that Nadex provides there by 1:30, the market might determine that there's a 70% chance that that's going to happen. And if that's the case, you'd be risking $70 to make $30 on a high probability trade. Now, if the market was trading at 11.10 and you thought that it's going to reverse and actually close below 11.10, the marketplace at the time at 12 noon might say, I don't think you're right. I think there's a 30% chance that's going to happen. And if that happens, you'd be risking $30 to make $70 on a lower probability trade. A little bit about Nadex. Nadex is a North American derivatives exchange. It's a wholly owned subsidiary of the IG Group, which is listed on the London FTSE 100 index. It's based in Chicago and is subject to regulatory oversight by the CFTC. When you trade with Nadex, you don't trade through a broker. Your orders are placed directly on the exchange, and your member funds are held in a segregated bank account in the United States. You have full transparency on every trade. Nadex does not take market positions against you. Nadex was previously only available to legal residents of the United States, Canada, and Mexico, but is now open in 47 countries across the world. And if you go to nadex.com, if you're one of our international guests, you'll be able to find out whether Nadex is available in your country. When you place a Nadex binary options trade, everything starts, just like any other trade, with your opinion on the direction of a market is going to be heading. And then you get to choose the asset you want to trade. Do you want to trade Forex pairs, stock indices, commodities, Bitcoin? And then you're going to select the exact asset that you want to trade. You want to also determine what you want your expiration time to be. Do you want your expiration to be at the end of the week, or the end of the day, or on the hour? Do you want to choose a smaller time frame, like every 20 minutes or 5-minute binary options? They're also available to you on select assets. And then placing a trade on. You select the number of contracts you want to trade, you determine the price that you're willing to pay for that contract, and then you place your order directly on the exchange. You can close your position early or let the binary option ride to expiration. So to get started with Nadex, you can open up a 2-week demo for free. We'll be providing links for how to do that. When you actually decide to fund a live account, it can be done for as little as $100. Your exchange fees, you're not dealing with brokers, but exchange fees are charged at 90 cents per contract per side. And the maximum exchange fees for any trade per side is $9 or 10 contracts. So if you have a successful round trip trade with 10 contracts, your exchange fee would be $18. If you do it with 20 contracts or 50 or 100 contracts, it would also be $18. So you can really scale down the fees you have to pay if you trade on a larger account. But here's the thing that's really nice about Nadex that is not really available on a lot of other trading vehicles, is if your contract expires unsuccessfully out of the money, you're going to be charged the execution fee, 90 cents per contract, to enter the trade, but you will not be charged the settlement fee. So you're not charged a round trip if you make a trade that expires out of the money. Quick summary, binary options are a simple yes or no proposition. You're always making a decision about the likely direction of a market relative to a strike price within a defined time period of your choosing. You have limited trade risk. You always know your risk and reward before you place a trade, and you have multiple markets that you can trade. You can choose the market you're most comfortable with. You have spike protection. You know that you can't get stopped out. And finally, Nadex, and I can't stress this enough, it is a regulated exchange with stringent oversight by the CFTC. There are many other shops overseas that are not regulated that are pretty unscrupulous, and there have been some pretty bad stories about people doing binary options on unregulated binary options brokers. I'm going to take a quick look at Nadex just to give you some familiarity with what the platform looks like, and then I'm going to pass it over to Sean Jance. So when you open up your Nadex demo account, this is exactly what you're looking at. And this is going to be a little bit hard to see. I've got a blown up picture, but on the very left side of this real estate is your Finder. And in this Finder, you're going to see all of the indexes, commodities, and Forex pairs that are available to you. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is just blow this up here a little bit, and I took a screenshot of that. And let's see, come on. Okay, hopefully you can see this a little bit better, but under the Finder, you're going to see that they have the Hang Seng Index with China 50, the FTSE 100, the Germany 30 or the DAX, the Japanese Index 225 or the Nikkei, U.S. Tech is the NASDAQ, U.S. 500 is the S&P 500, U.S. Small Cap 2000 is the Russell, and the Wall Street 30 is the Dow. And if you expand these little plus signs next to everything else, you'll have the Forex pairs that are available to you, the commodities that are available to you, Bitcoin, events, 5-minute binaries, 20-minute binaries. And when you look at this little Finder on here, quite quickly, if you look at this little Finder, you'll see that there's a little graph icon. And if you click on that, it'll pull up the chart for that time period that you've selected. So it goes right into the asset that you want to trade, along with all the particulars, the strike prices, and the expiration time period. So going back to Nadex, let's see. I'm going to choose the 10 to 12 time period on the S&P 500. And it's pulling up that chart. And this is a 15-minute chart trading pretty sideways going into the FOMC right now. And you have a number of indicators you can pull down. I've got a 50-period moving average, the 8 EMA, the MACD, 200 moving average is plotted. And on the right side of the chart, you have your strike price ladder. So each one of these will give you your buy and sell proposition for where the market is. This red line here, that's your expiration at 12 o'clock. So right now the market is climbing up here, and if you decided that you felt that the market was going to be above 1988 by 12 o'clock, you could choose to buy that. The current market price to buy that would be $45, meaning you'd be paying $45. You'd have a $45 risk to make $54.50. I'm going to go ahead and place that order just to see how it plays out. And currently it's showing that I'm $9 in the hole. That's just the bid-ask spread right now. So as this continues to grind up toward this price, it's an out-of-the-money trade. Technically, it's almost at the money. There's about 50% buyers and 50% sellers on this particular trade. Now, if I also felt that the marketplace was going to reverse, say, below the 1987 line, or right around here, I could go ahead and decide, I think this marketplace is going to pull back, and I'm going to hit the sell button. To sell it, it's roughly the same risk reward. It's pending right now. It's grayed out. As soon as my strike price is a market for that strike price, it will actually activate as well. But Sean's going to go a whole lot more into this, and when I pick up in the last hour of this presentation, there we filled. So right now, what's going on is if this marketplace, if it's above this line, then this contract over here is good, and I'll pick up 50. If it dropped below this line, then this one would be good at the 12 o'clock expiration. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a baseline understanding, and then Sean's going to go through a presentation of how he addresses every day in his battle plan. Real quickly, I've got some Nadex resources that you can take a look at. There's a link to the demo. You're going to get this link later. You can open up a Nadex account by clicking on this link. Trading Pub, our website, is just packed with information on how to trade with Nadex and stocks, options, futures, Forex, pairs. You go on the Trading Pub website up down to Nadex under free education, and you will see a listing of strategies, videos. This event will wind up being posted up there. So you can always reference that if you're looking for information on trading Nadex. The probability report, I mentioned that's the monthly newsletter that I put out. And this was all of the free trading webinars that are available, hosted by Nadex. I also am a featured writer on binaryoptions.nadex. It's Nadex's website. So every day you're going to find strategies and tips for how to trade with Nadex. This is a Nadex-sponsored website. I put in articles every Monday and Wednesday. So let's see. Here's my most recent one. Trading resistance levels. Sean, this will look familiar to you. I was actually using some of Sean Jance's information. This is the workspace that he sets up. So anyway, lots of good information. For those that trade stocks, options, other instruments, Forex outside of Nadex, you can go to Market Deal. And Market Deal is a trading pub website that has all of our books that we publish this year. And you can research anything. They're all free. And there's great projects, books, videos that you can access to help you become more consistent in your trading. Okay, without further ado, I want to introduce you to Sean Jance. He's the founder of the Binary Trade Group, which is a Nadex education community. Night, Sean publishes a YouTube that basically breaks down the next business day, and he puts his battle plan together. He draws where the volume is most likely to occur, key support and resistance levels, and then he publishes a YouTube video with his belief on what to do with that information. When you go to binarytradegroup.com, you can sign up for a 2-week trial and follow Sean on a daily basis. And Sean is going to be talking today about lunchtime trading on the S&P 500 and the Russell 2K. And with that being said, Sean, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Hey Cam, can you hear me? Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, perfect. Hey, I had I apologize for this, but I actually had a little bit of a PowerPoint put together, and I had to switch computers at the last minute because my Omnovia wasn't working, and so I don't have my PowerPoint with me. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I did notice, and I'm going to assume probably over half of the people um, on this webinar today probably have not traded Nadex before. And so I'm definitely going to get into live markets and show you kind of what I do. But I mean, it looks like I have about 45 minutes, and I hopefully by the end of it, I've definitely piqued your interest on Nadex binary options. I'm going to show you some cool stuff that you can do on Nadex. I saw a lot of people are trading just straight Forex. That was the majority, and so saw a few people trading stocks and stuff like that, right? And so I'm going to show you some things that you can. So for me, Nadex can also just complement what you're already doing. It's another way to trade, and I'm going to show you some stuff, and hopefully by the end of it, you're sold and you're going to and you can get in there and start learning, right? And so I'm going to go ahead and start my screen sharing here, but a little bit about me. I've been trading the markets for 3 years. My background actually comes from traditional options, and so if there's any tasty traders in the group, that's kind of where I come from. I come from uh, the uh, the tasty trade community. It's kind of where I've learned. I learned almost everything I know from them, and so obviously, tasty trade usually just trade. On Tasty Trade, you usually just trade, traditional options, and usually about 45 to 60 days out was my traditional trades that I would make. And here comes my screen. Can everybody see my screen okay? Okay, thanks, Shauna. And I'm pretty good at that, and I still do that. I still do that today. But again, they're 45 to 60-day trades, and they're a little slower, but I do kind of like the little slower, right? And I have also tried trading shorter time frames like traditional futures trading, and it is and if anybody is a traditional futures here trader here, it is I struggled with it hardcore. It was really hard. You need to have a lot of money actually to do it. You got to put up margin, and I just flat out did not like being a traditional futures trader. I liked the idea of it, right? I wanted to make money fast instead of putting on these 45-day trades. I wanted to make money fast, right? So because I was kind of good at it, but it's just more of like a mindset type of deal. It's just so fast. You get down unrealized losses, just the red just starts beating your heart so fast, right? And um, and so I struggled with traditional futures, and I was really looking for other ways to trade. And about 2 years ago, I ran across binary options, but they were overseas binary options, if anybody's familiar with those. And I thought I found the holy grail, and it only took me a couple of um, Google searches to find out that this was basically a total. I don't want to use the word scam, but it's pretty darn close. If you Google binary options, you're going to see all of these offshore stuff, and it's the closest thing to a scam that you'll find. And so I was really bummed. Thank goodness I didn't put any money in any offshore Cyprus thing. And so make sure too that you're not doing that. Trust me, the ending's not going to be well, right? And so thank goodness I didn't end up doing that. And so, but then through my research of binary options online, I came across Nadex a little over 2.5 years ago, and I've never looked back. And so I dug into Nadex hardcore, started learning everything I possibly could about it, and Nadex will be part of my trading um, exchange every day, right? I still trade traditional options almost every day, and then of course I trade Nadex every day too, because Nadex gives you more opportunities that your traditional TD Ameritrades don't give you. And so for a little bit, I wanted to share some of the amazing opportunities that Nadex can offer you, and just different styles of trading too, because not everybody has the same style of trading. And when you become just a traditional forex trader, everybody has the same style, right? You're right at the money, and you either make a pip. If you buy, you make dollars as it goes up, and if you sell, you make dollars as it goes down, right? That's the only way you can make money on forex. Whereas if you come into Nadex, you're going to be able to learn a lot about yourself, and you're going to be able to find what type of trader do I want to be, and what type of risk rewards um, do I want, right? What type of risk rewards do I want to create for myself? And so I've noticed too that I have actually I have a pretty big lag on my screen here when I'm changing, so I'll have to kind of talk slow when I move from window to window. And so just quickly, I'm not here to sell. No, I don't sell anything, so don't think that what this is. I don't sell nothing actually. So almost everything that I do is out there for free. Pretty much the only thing I guess that guidance and mentorship from me. It's pretty much I just kind of sell my knowledge as far as an everyday access to somebody who's been trading Nadex for 2 years. You get access to that, but I don't sell anything, so don't think that's what this is. I don't do that. So just a little bit about what I do. My website is www.binarytradegroup.com, and I have a ton of just free Nadex education on my website. You can learn a little bit about me and our services. If you're still new to Nadex, I put together over I think a year now. I put together a Nadex Made Simple video series. These are all free, and what I do is I have 7 videos here, and what I do, you'll get to meet my wife Megan, very cute girl, and you can definitely tell I married up. But what I do, and she knows nothing about trading, absolutely nothing. So she was a perfect little guinea pig. What I do is I actually take my wife Megan through Nadex. I take her from the beginning to the end, and I teach her how Nadex works, and she asks really good questions. Actually click on these and they take you straight to my YouTube channel, and I think they have probably one of the highest views as far as Nadex education videos go. I think that one has like 4,000, and probably the highest one, right? Intro to Nadex options. I don't forget how many views. Uh, Again, my screen's lagging, so I'll have to go slow. And you see that one has over a little, almost 6,600 views, right? And so these are really good videos. A lot of people like them. They're short videos. You'll get to meet my wife, and if you really, really want to learn how to trade Nadex, I thought it was a really good idea that I took a newbie from beginning to end. So it's not like, if you've watched, just like me, I started 3 years learning how to trade, and it was all of these gurus talking way over my head, and I couldn't understand it, right? And it was frustrating. Well, here I take somebody who's brand new from the beginning to the end, and so you can go into there and watch those free videos. It's good stuff. I have a couple webinars too here that you can watch. And then if you go to the home page, you can request here. We also do free Nadex trainings, one-on-one, where you can hop on with one of my educators on a one-on-one. We can do this, exactly what we're doing now, but on a one-on-one type of basis with somebody on my team, and he'll go through and teach you everything you need to know about Nadex. He'll be on the phone with you for over an hour if you want to. He'll answer all of your questions, anything you want to know. Be Ryan Smith that does it with you. So if you really want like some one-on-one teaching on Nadex, we offer that too. So you can just get some one-on-one teaching on Nadex too. So I promise you, after you open up your demo account, you're gonna be like, I don't understand what's going on. And then so the best thing is to hop on with somebody. Ryan Smith's been trading Nadex for over 2 years. So he knows everything there is to know about Nadex, and you can get on a one-on-one call with him, and he'll help you. So we offer that too. And I think, as far as I know, we're the only ones that do that, actually, as far as I know. So pretty cool there. Uh, as far as like what we offer, and I know I'll get into charts here in just a second, but I offer everything literally for free, and so I have all of my trainings. Complete trainings are free, free strategies. I offer free daily. Um, I do what I call them battle plans, like trade plan videos. So you can actually even go into my YouTube page. I'll go ahead and put this in there. I have the Nadex Made Simple series. I also have live Nadex trading videos where you can actually watch me trade live, where you can watch me enter the trade, exit the trade, why I think it's going to win. I have over 20 of those. And then here's one of my best things that I do for 8 months straight. 8 months straight, I haven't missed it. I've only missed one day in the last 8 months. Trade plans for the indice futures. I do them on the S&P 500 and slash TF. And if there's any BTGers on the webinar, it's almost freaky accurate how accurate I am on these. And so these are about 10 minutes they're about 10 minutes long. I post them every evening, and I basically tell you almost exactly what to do 12 hours in advance. I tell you what to do if it goes here, what to do if it goes there. It's very, very rare that I'm wrong. I'm not boasting by any means. It's just the only reason that it's just because I'm actually full-time trader, so I've been doing this for 2 years. I've watched every tick on the S&P 500 for the last 2 years every day, and so when you do that, by the way, quick tip, right? If you're a forex trader, what have you, when you zone in on an instrument, you literally become in sync with it. Like, I honestly feel like I'm so in sync with the S&P 500. It's crazy. It's if you go and watch any of my plans, it's nuts how accurate I can be as far as like where it's going to go or where it's not going to go. And so I haven't missed a day. I've only missed one day in 8 months. I think I was in Vegas that night, but I've only missed one day. And so I post trade plans and I also post charts. And so look, that's a little bit about me. So now what I thought I would do is go into some charts. And I know this was about lunchtime trading, so I'll also get into that, of how I trade during lunchtime and all the opportunities. And so can everybody see that chart okay here? This is a Thinkorswim. Can everybody see that chart okay? So I'll kind of give you a little bit about how I trade, stuff that I do. I don't pay for any indicators. I don't sell any indicators. You know, it's definitely one of my missions. You don't need to buy any indicators. There's thousands of them in here. Not thousands, but you know what I mean. There's hundreds of them in here. And so I just use everything that's free. So again, here's just a blank chart, and I'll show you quickly how I set my charts up and kind of the stuff that I use. But here's just a blank chart. And real quick, this is a 4-hour chart. So I want to talk quickly about a 4-hour chart, because once I learned how to look at a 4-hour chart and how the 4-hour charts work, oh, absolutely everything changed for me. So if you are not looking at 4-hour charts, you are losing out on a lot of money, because 4-hour charts play a huge role, especially in Forex. One of the reasons why 4-hour charts are so powerful is because most banks use 4-hour charts. And so if you're going to be trading with the people who actually move these charts, most banks actually use 4-hour charts. And so the second I learned how to use 4-hour charts, everything changed for me. I used to only look at the smaller time frames, which was a huge mistake. And I kept wondering why I was losing so much back in the day. And then I realized that it was so important to understand what's going on the larger time frames. I even do analysis on the daily charts too. Daily chart is the farthest chart I'll go out. By the way, if you have any questions, you can type them in. I have 3 screens, so I can see anything you got going on, anything you want to ask. I have 3 screens. So I'll just quickly show you how I set my charts up. I only do a couple studies here. My first study that I use, actually the first thing that I do is notice that these are normal candles, right? So you got the open and the close, right? I'm sure all of you are traders, so you understand that. I actually use Heiken Ashi candles. So I just go to candle and I use Heiken Ashi. So if you notice here how much smoother it smooths these candles out. So you can go back 3 to 4 hour trades, absolutely, Ron. So what I do is I take the bias on the 4-hour chart for those smaller term 3 to 4 hour trades. I then jump to the 5-minute chart, 1-minute chart to get my entries. So I'll take the bias of the 4-hour, but I don't enter on the 4-hour chart. I go in, then I use the 1-minute, 5-minute charts. So for sure, absolutely. I use Heiken Ashi candles, so you can quickly see the difference here. We'll go back to normal candle. Okay, red, green, red, green, red, green. Right? It's kind of, I actually hate it. I hate the red, green, red, green. I would much rather smooth these out. So then I just go to Heiken Ashi. So I definitely smooth these out. So now it's not red, green, red, green. Now it's green, red, green, red. Use these charts out for me a little bit better. I then go in and add studies. I then go in and add my next favorite is I like Keltner channels. So they're basically moving averages, you know, and support and resistance channels, and they work fantastic. So just go in here and I then add Keltner channels to give me an idea of where we are, you know, basically moving averages. Top ones is resistance, bottom support, and then you got, this is a 20 exponential right in the middle. Next thing that I use, I go to add study. It's called the Fisher transformer. And so this is basically your stochastic. So this is going to be very similar to an RSI, but it actually gives you arrows and things like that, right? And so now what I do, this is exactly how I set my charts up. I actually do several other things that I just don't have time to do in today, and you'll learn in my training center for free. But this is the basis of what I do. And so here's the beauty. I first want to show, like, I always start on a 4-hour chart. And so if we zoom in just a little bit, of course we had that big sell-off here. Now we've just been moving. I've actually been crushing this chart the past 2 weeks. The volatility it's been awesome. It's been moving really smooth. And gonna grab my pin. Gonna grab a pin real quick that I can draw on the chart. But as you can see, right, and so my setup really gives me really smooth confirmations of, you can see resistance right there, moves down. You can then see support right there. You got a buy trigger. You see more support. We had a beautiful sell trigger right there that day. I made a little over 250 bucks on that day. That was a really good sell. Everything was telling me to sell. So this is still the 4-hour chart, Michael. And Ron, I use Heiken-Ashi candles. I'm not sure what charting software you're using, so I don't know if they have it. Of course, Thinkorswim has it. So you can kind of see just how smooth you can make this. And then look where we currently are on this /ES on the S&P. I mean, our 4-hour chart. Um, Now again, I wanna make sure put a disclaimer on today that of course if you're a trader you should know this. I mean it's been everywhere. But you got FOMC coming up here in a few hours, right? So today is just not a typical day. I'm trading super small. All of my positions are smaller than normal because I actually have no idea what's going to happen. I don't think they're going to raise rates. I honestly think that everything is pretty much priced in, but I do think we may get a knee-jerk reaction at 2 o'clock. But either way, they may surprise us, and I just want to make sure that I'm not overexposed. This is the most heavily talked about uh, FOMC announcement that I've ever seen, right? I've only been doing this for 3 years. This is the most heavily talked. Anywhere you go, they're talking about the rates, right? And so we may not have picked the best date to look at charts, but because I honestly have no idea what's going to happen. The only thing that I can look at is look at technicals. I'm not really a fundamental trader. Usually, the way that I trade fundamentals is I let the fundamentals come out. So basically, and then I make my move. So what I mean is I don't try and guess fundamentals. What I do is I usually let fundamentals come out. So I'm not a news trader. I don't do that. I let the news come out and then I make my move. And so I usually like to say I'm not in the prediction business. Reaction business. And if you want to get into the reaction business, Nadex is the best place to do it. I'm going to show you some examples of what I mean by being in the reaction business. But if you're just trading traditional Forex or traditional futures, you're in the prediction business right now, and it's really hard. I bet you're probably struggling and you're pulling your hair out, just like I was. But when you get on Nadex, you can get into the reaction business, and I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. Because you can get farther away from the markets and you can give yourself more room to be wrong, and you'll make less money, but you're going to dramatically increase your probability of profit, your pop, right? So I'm going to show you some quick examples of things that I do and everything that you can do um, on Nadex, right? And then we'll get into some live charting here in a second. But the first thing that I do is I always start on a 4-hour chart. Again, if you get anything from this call with me, move to your 4-hour charts, and and then maybe get this set up and use 4-hour charts to base your smaller term trades, because everything will change. Once I figured out how to look at 4-hour charts, it was game over, right? And so when we look at this 4-hour chart now, I mean, you can kind of see how we're massively overbought. I've actually got all these arrows pointing down. You can see we got resistance here. Let me get rid of some of these, right? We're coming back up, resistance here, resistance there, and now look where we are. You can kind of see these candles too. I mean, we had a decent up move here, and now look at these candles. They're just basically what I call reversal. If you're a trader, right, you probably know those as doji stars, right? So you can kind of see that nobody's in control here. Notice that these bulls have been in control since Tuesday, and then lose control exactly where they lost it, here and here, and then we're overbought with all of my arrows pointing down, right? And so again, if it wasn't for FOMC, I probably would tell everybody right now, go into Nadex and go sell whatever you possibly can. And I'd say you'll make a lot of money, right? But I'm actually a little bit smaller on my trades just because of what FOMC. Also, it's quadruple witching on Friday, If anybody knows what that means, it's quadruple witching on Friday. So at today's closing bell, you will see some big moves because it's quadruple witching week. You can Google that. But so how could you so looking at this chart, there are several ways that you can take advantage of this through Nadex. Notice if you're trading futures today, we're not really moving anywhere. We're not really going anywhere. And so notice too that we had resistance here and here. So now one of the best things about Nadex is that you can pick areas on the charts where you believe prices are not going to go and make money. So notice that the prices are really struggling to come up into this area. So having that information, you can still make money, right? So if you're just a traditional futures trader, you can't make money knowing that. And so let's actually go into Nadex real quick. I put a trade on too. I won it. I'll show you. This was a lunchtime trade, right? So I can show you how I did that. But so if you go in here and then just go to indice binaries, you have all of these. You have all of these China, FTSE, Germany, Japan, right? I usually only trade US 500 and small cap. So then just click on US 500. And one of the best things that you can do is there's so many different time frames to trade Nadex. If you're just traditional futures or just trading Forex, I mean, it's always the same time frame, right? You get in, get out, get in, get out. But with Nadex, you can pick whatever time frame you possibly want up to a weekly. So now we can click on weeklies. And these contracts right here expire tomorrow at 4:15. So notice how it says 1 day left. And so we can go in here and look at these contracts. These statements right here say, let's say you think US 500 is going to go down, or let's say you think US 500 is going to stay flat, or let's say you think US 500 is just going to, it might go up just a little bit, but I don't think it's going to go that far. So there is almost so many different ways that you can take advantage of this. One of my favorite ways is to trade what I call in the money Nadex binary options. So you can look at these statements right here. All these are just statements, and it's all you have to do, literally, it's almost nuts when you think about it, how easy this is. It's not easy. When you get into it, you'll see what I mean. But the concept of the Nadex is the easiest thing you'll ever learn in your life. But all you have to do to make money is decide whether these are going to be true or false. That's it. That's literally all you have to do. So you don't really need to know very much. All you need to know is true or false, right? So let's look at an example here on this. This statement right here says US 500 greater than 2028.5 by 4:15 tomorrow. So all we need to do is go back into our charts and draw that statement. So we'll go ahead and draw price level 2028.5 right there. So that's the strike, and then you just go to time level, and this expires on Friday at 1600, right? So right there. So if you think, I don't really know where this chart's going to go, but I have a really good idea that we're going to stay below that line. And that's, and so the best thing too is you have over a day to manage this. So let's just go ahead and put this trade on. So currently it's selling right now for $12.75. It's a little expensive for my taste, but I'll just show you an example. So you can sell this contract. What you can do is you can say, I think that that statement right there is going to be false. I don't think we're going to go up to 2028 by in the next 20. I don't really know what this chart's going to do, but I have a really good idea we're not going to go above 2028. And so you can sell it for $12.75. So your max profit is $12.75 and your max loss is 87, but that's your max loss. You don't have to take an $87 loss, that's for sure. You can enter and exit these trades whenever you want, right? So basically what this is telling us, whatever your max loss is, that is the percentage or probability that you're going to profit. So if you take that trade, you have an 87% chance that you're going to profit on that trade. And so let's just go ahead and put it on. So all I need to do is stay below 2028.5 by tomorrow, and I make $12.50. Now, here is the best thing about Nadex. Notice that I did have to put up, I had to put up 88, I had to put up 87.50 to make the trade. So Nadex took out $87.50 out of my account to make that trade. If this stays below 2028.5 by tomorrow, they're going to give me back 100. So then of course I'll net 12.50, right? But here's the best thing about Nadex. You may be thinking $86 loss? No way do I want that risk reward. Well, you don't have to have that risk reward. All that is that you just put up is what you would call buying power for anybody who trades traditional options. And so the best thing is that if price actually somehow moves, what is that, 50 points? If it moves 50 points all the way up there, that binary will now just be worth $50 and you can just buy it back. So and then all you do is now your loss is only going to be $38. So you're risking 38, you're basically only risking 38 to make 12, and look how much room you have to be wrong. It's nuts, right? And so again, that was only $12, but you could go in here and let's say you took 10 contracts, you'll make $125 on if you all you have to do is stay below 2028.5. And honestly, if it was not for FOMC, I'd say go in there and get this trade. If you want free money, just go get it. My money is I just look for areas on the charts where I'm pretty confident price is not going to go. I give myself a lot of room to be wrong. Ever had that feeling when you're trading traditional Forex or traditional futures and you just wish like it goes all the way to your stop loss and then you get stopped out and then of course it comes all the way back to where you thought it was going to go? Isn't that the most annoying thing you've ever done in your life? It was for me. I hated that feeling. And so now when you get on Nadex, all you can really do, notice this, I gave myself 50 points to be wrong on this trade. I don't know there's nowhere else in the world that you can do this right now. Of course, you can trade weeklies on TD Ameritrade. The only reason I don't do that is because Nadex actually charges only $2 to make a trade. It's $1.80, but we'll round up and say is $2. If you trade on Thinkorswim, you trade weeklies on Thinkorswim, just go in here and try and trade a weekly contract. You can go and look how much it almost costs you $13 to make a trade. So here's your weeklies. So if you're trading weeklies, you need to move over to Nadex as soon as possible. And let's just sell something random. And let's look at the commissions on this thing. It's going to cost me over $11.50 to make a trade on TD Ameritrade. Guess how much it costs on Nadex? It only costs $1.80. Right? So if you're trading traditional options, you need to move over here as soon as possible. It's nuts, right? And so again, that's one of the ways that I like to trade. Now, let's say you wanted to make a little bit more money. Of course, we can look at this statement right here, which is 2016.5. You can sell one of those. Right now, it's selling for 20. Max loss is 80. So let's go ahead and take that trade. But that's our max loss, right? So so notice that let's draw that statement. So let's go to price level 2016.5. Expiring on that vertical line. So all I need to do is stay below 2016.5 by tomorrow, and I make 20 points. So I'm giving myself 20 points to be wrong. It's pretty crazy. A lot of people are probably just pulling their hair out trying to trade traditional. Trading is actually, it's very, very what I like to call stress-free. Notice too that if price actually moves up there, the binary will then be worth 50. So the binary will be worth 50, and all I have to do is just go in and then buy it back, and I only lose $30. So I'm basically I usually stop loss right around there. So your stop loss. So notice that I had to put up $80 but I'm not going to risk 80. I'm only going to risk 30 to 40. You can enter and exit these trades whenever you want. This is about to expire, so I wanted to only have, what, 4 minutes left, so I wanted to take a picture of it so we can go back and review this lunchtime trade that I just took. Yeah, Cam, sorry, I'm here. Can you execute a trade with a price between the bid and the ask? So basically, George, what you can do is you cannot you can. What you can do is, for an example, let's say this is selling for 14 and a quarter right now, but you want to try and sell it for 17. So just put your order in for 17 and hit place order. And notice too that so now this goes into your working orders. And if you actually go back and click on that ticket, you'll see, notice how there's 2 contracts at 15, and then that's you right there at 17. So you're literally physically trading against other Nadex traders in the world. I used to have to only say United States, but it's actually the world now. You're literally trading against other people in the world. And then notice that you're basically saying, hey, I have a contract out here for 17 bucks. Who wants it? Right? And so you're not guaranteed to get filled. You're only guaranteed to get filled at $14.50. Daryl, there's currently no way to enter a stop loss order, but there's a website out there that I think they have a what they call a stop loss plugin. It's not. It's kind of, you can Google it, or maybe Cam can share it with you. Currently, there is no way to put a stop loss in. You have to manually enter a stop loss. Yep, there's market makers, George. So there's 2 really, really big market makers. And of course, the only way Nadex makes money is 90 cents into the trade and 90 cents out of the trade. And the only way market makers make money is, of course, the bid-ask spread. So you may be actually looking at this bid-ask spread right now on, it's only about $6, the bid-ask spread is. Whereas actually 2 years ago it was almost 12. So it's getting better and better. There's more liquidity coming into the markets. And actually, if you go to your live account, that bid-ask spread might actually be smaller. It might actually only be $5. And so the market makers, of course, I wish I was a market maker sometimes. They make money on the difference of what they sold it to you for, right? So that's the easiest way to make money in the markets. But of course, you need a lot of money. You need probably 750,000 to be a market maker. Are the market makers in Nadex trading instruments? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that question. But you can see too how I wanted to quickly show also there's daily contracts. So you can see that there's 4 hours left. So these binary options expire at 4:15. You can also trade daily. You can also trade hourly contracts. And then you can also even trade 20-minute contracts on the indices. So these are trades that expire in less than 20 minutes. I rarely do the 20-minute trades because they're just too fast. My style of trading, again, is I just want to get as far away from the market as I possibly can, stress-free, control my loss, manage the winners. It's pretty easy. All you got to do is just find areas on the charts where you're pretty confident price is not going to go. Forget trying to figure out where it's going to go. And you can do really, really well on Nadex if you can just figure out where price is not going to go. I wanted to jump in real quick. So this is longer term trading. I just wanted to show you quickly the opportunities that are available here, because this is one of the best ones as far as longer term. No auto signals, David Lane. It's illegal to do it. So yeah, don't get that. I mean, auto signals, if you see any of that junk online, run. Okay, it just doesn't exist. I wish it did. I mean, how awesome would it be if some robot made trades for us? It just doesn't exist. Okay, you do have to learn this. You do got to put some time in. But in my opinion, I won't sugarcoat anything. It'll probably take you roughly 3 to 6 months to get good and start profiting on a weekly basis. You may not make money every day, but in my opinion, it's 6 months of some hard work to actually learn this and learn the ins and outs. And that's what we do is we come in and try and speed that learning curve as fast as we possibly can for you. Because I've been doing this for 3 years. It's pretty easy. Seen it advertised, yeah, and it's illegal. So I wouldn't bother with that. Um, nobody can make trades for you. So I quickly wanted to show you, I actually just won a Nadex trade. Liquidity problems, so not really. So here's the only way you'll have liquidity problems is you can't start a hedge fund on Nadex. You're not going to be able to put $1 million in here. Then yes, you will have liquidity problems. I would say if you have $100,000 max, you'll have no issues with liquidity. You'll be able to move in and out of these markets, no problem. If you're a millionaire trader, yes, you will have some liquidity problems. 100,000, 200,000, you're golden. Anything below that, there's plenty of money. There's thousands and thousands of liquidity. Millions, no. You won't be able to trade millions on Nadex. Not today anyways, maybe in 5 years. But you can't start a hedge fund on Nadex. Um, so now I wanted to quickly show you some smaller term trades that you can do. And so I actually, it's kind of funny, Cam saw it too, right? So Cam just saw that sell that just happened. And so one of my other favorite time frame for smaller term trades is actually the 15-minute chart. And so I noticed one of my favorite charts is the 15 for like hourly trades or 2-hour trades on Nadex. And so I can actually try and put this up. And Ron, actually, if I have time, if Cam gives me a little bit of time, I can show you some Nadex Forex stuff, the way that I trade Forex. So if you're up 103% on traditional Forex, if you want to add in some Nadex trades, oh man, you'll probably be up 200. I'm not kidding. I'm not even embellishing on this. If you're up 100% on traditional Forex, you want to add in some Nadex stuff too, you'd be up 200. Trust me. That's really, really good. I'm not even that great at Forex. I'm actually way, way better at these futures. Oh, this is all Nadex. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. um, I wanted to show you. So last night I post trade plans. 15 minutes. Okay. I know these are so hard because you can probably feel the passion just oozing out of me. I could probably talk for 5 hours because I'm actually in some live trades too, and I'm looking on my other screen. I'm green, looking good. I'm winning money already today. So I can't per Nadex. I wasn't live account. So liquidity as good as Forex spreads? No, that's not. So liquidity on the Forex is just a little bit lower, but ES has the most liquidity. Yeah, Ron, I know, right? I love this stuff, and I'm actually doing really well. I'm going to soon probably exit most of my positions. Well, we got 2 hours left till FOMC, and so, but I did have a plan for today, and I actually won. Um, so I post these trade plans every night. So again, I've been doing this every night for the last 8 months. I've only missed one day, and that's because I was in Vegas. But I do take this extremely serious. And so one of my plans to today was to, of course I wanted to be a seller, right? Absolutely wanted to be a seller. You can go watch my plan. Let me actually post this. Um, this is actually unlisted right now because they're only listed to members. So there's my plan for today. And so one of my trades that I wanted to try and get was on slash, and the biggest plan did not happen today, and I kind of figured it might not. I was hoping for deep sell-off here, and we're not getting it, but the way with Nadex you can still make money. So there we are right there. So one of my plans, I wanted to try and so notice how you can see me circling resistance here. And so one of my plans was definitely to look for price to come back to seller. So basically I wanted these bulls to try, you can watch this video. I My exact words are probably, I want these bulls, I want them to try one more time, fail, and then I can look for sell trades right there. And so if we go into this 15-minute chart, we can put these up next to each other. I nailed it, almost to the tick. Actually twice to the tick. Nailed it. ES and TF. So slash ES, if you can see my screen, David, right here, um, that's the S&P 500 futures. So that's what Nadex uses. You may be familiar with SPX. SPX is what like you'll see on the news or what you'll see on uh, uh, is the SPX, but slash ES is the S&P 500 futures. It's the most heavily traded product in the entire world, right? And so that's what Nadex uses. But quickly, and so you can kind of see my plan was my plan for sure. So notice we had the high right there. That's a 5-day high. And I wanted to look for these bulls to try several times and fail, right? And so sure enough, bulls tried overnight, failed. They tried again and failed. And so I did not catch this one. Obviously, I was sleeping. But I did catch this one today. So what I ended up doing, and Cam, actually, you probably won your trade probably on your, you saw it too, right? So kind of put that side by side. And here's another thing that I am one of yep, you won. So I am one of the most patient traders that you will ever find in your life, right? And so I use the term always. I let the trade come to me, always, 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 always. George, basically, I'll get into that. The last 5 minutes, I'll talk about what we do. The last, I always let the trade come to me. So I wanted this trade to come right up. So this was the only area where I wanted to be a seller last night. I said, if I sell this, I want these bulls to come up here and try one more time. And I want to make sure that they're not breaking the new high here. Didn't break, didn't break, right? And so what I did, I took this on demo and my live. I think I made about $60 on my live account. It's not a lot of money. I don't make millions. I'm not Timothy Sykes, so I'm never gonna, I don't hype that up. But a good day for me, anywhere from $50 to $500 is usually what I average. 50, yes, I'll have some losing days. I try and average anywhere from uh, 2, 3, 4,000, like 1,000. Sorry, 750 to 1,000 a week is what I try to go for. Doesn't always happen, but on weeks like today, it's usually you can get them. And so what I did that last hour is look at this statement right here. It says 1990. It says US 500 less than 1990 by noon. And so you can notice that I sold it for $22.50 on my demo account. Only took one contract. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw that statement that I sold. So it's all I needed to do to make money was stay below 1990 by noon. That's all I had to do. I gave myself almost 4 points to be wrong. I then would have exited the trade if price actually would have went up there. So I was really only risking 30 to make 20, but I had over an 80% chance of winning, right? And so when you can get on Nadex, you do not have to be like stuck at the money anymore. You don't have to do that anymore. All you have to do is just try and find areas on the charts where prices aren't going to go. And it's actually really simple. As long as you manage your winners and then cut your losses, it's easy, it's stress-free. I don't need to watch my charts like a hawk, right? And so if you notice too, that was straight in the trade plan. I just wanted it to come right here, and then I wanted to look for selling opportunities above there. And again, I went with the hourly because I want to make sure that I'm not in any trades going into FOMC. So I wanted, so um, you can see that this ended up, so it cost me $78 to make that trade. It cost me 78 bucks. And we can go into my account here and we'll go in to look at my transactions just to show you an example of how this works. So when I made the trade, Nadex took $78 out of my account to make the trade. All that is just my buying. I was absolutely not going to take a $78 loss, that's for sure. So when I made the trade, they actually took out $77.50. And then the trade turned out true, so you can see how it says settlement payout. Nadex gave me $100 back. So I profited $22.50 before fees. So they took out $77.50. They just now, what, 11 minutes ago, gave me $100 back, $22 in the bank, one contract. Now let's go get another one, right? So that's kind of how Nadex works. All you have to do is pick areas on the charts where prices aren't going to go. I absolutely do not have time to go into spreads. That'd be like 4 more hours. But one last thing that I wanted to show is, notice that I showed risk-reward ratios right around risking, 80 to make 20. But you can definitely pick any risk-reward ratio that you want. David, I rarely let it expire, honestly, on my live account. I rarely let it expire. So I usually always take my profits. And real quick, Cam, so what we do is you can go in, if Yana wants to post the link, I have a group here, and then I also, I post my trade plans every night. And then we have, we also have a chat group where usually I'll try and share anything that I'm doing. I don't say that I give signal. I don't, right? I mean, I basically tell you exactly what to do the night before, and then you're in a chat room all day with me, so you can ask questions. I also offer mentorship too, so if you record yourself trading, you can send me your recordings, and then we can get on and do one-on-ones together, so I can help you learn what you're doing wrong. So I also offer that, offer one-on-one coaching, and so. Yeah, if you want to get in, I have everything's free. You can set up your one-on-one with one of my trial specialists to learn more. And so if there's, I guess I can field a couple questions. Overnight sessions. So the bad thing about Nadex, here's the worst thing about Nadex that I don't like, is when you start getting into the overnight sessions, there's not a lot of liquidity, meaning you can enter and exit, but the bid-ask spreads get bigger overnight, meaning it's almost going to cost you $10 bid-ask spreads. So I rarely trade overnight, but sometimes I do, but I rarely do it. Is that my screen or your? Oh, is that my screen? I was confused for a second what that was. My favorite times to trade is just
Sean, that's my screen. Sorry.
I know, I was like, wait a second, is that my um, favorite times to trade is obviously just the U.S. session. Um, it's definitely the most liquid, and I usually put my plans for the U.S. session, and then when I trade forex, I usually trade larger time frames on forex, meaning I usually try and go as far out as like 5 to even 12 hours on my trades. So you can do weeklies on forex too, which is the only place in the world you can do weeklies. Indices the most.
Sean, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. All
Gary, you say
right.
broker. No, go ahead, Cam.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I think I'm going to take over from this point. And first of all, did everyone enjoy Sean's presentation, and would you like to see him back again? Type a yes or no. That's an enthusiastic yes. Absolutely. Yes, 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 yes. Good stuff. All right. Well, the screen that I have up, this shows the Facebook page that the Binary Trade Group has, and there's also a he has a chat session down here where you can people actually share their ideas. They take a look at setups. Sean comes in and says, "Yep, it's looking good. I think we're going to see a reversal or a bounce off this support or resistance area." So it's a very, very interactive group. And I can't stress enough that, I mean, every night you're going to see Sean prepares a YouTube video. He has his battle plan up there. He shares his Thinkorswim workspace. So, you know, everything is there for you. And, you walk into the day with the sense that you feel prepared to attack the day because you not only have his workspace shared with you, but you also have a video explaining where he believes the market's going to go, whether it's crude or gold or the Russell or the ES. Those are the four particular markets that he draws out his battle plan for. So seeing crude oil, this big gray box here is the value area that he has plotted for you. He has key support and resistance areas in there, like yesterday's settlement, points of control. There's just a lot of information that's in there, and members from the Binary Trade Group can follow this plan. So, I mean, I just can't stress enough how much information he gives his members to help them make informed decisions with Nadex binary options. And I actually use his information not only to follow his particular strategy, but also to see if there's going to be a predictive move. For example, in crude today, you can see how this market is moving from the top of the value area box to the bottom, back up to the top, working its way back to the bottom. Now, with Sean's plan over here, once this reversal happens up here, that might be a great opportunity for an in-the-money sell. You're selling from a position of relative safety above the value area high. But you could also, if there was enough time left in the trade, you could look for an out-of-the-money trade down here with less risk applied if you believe that the market's actually going to move all the way to the bottom of the value area box within the time period that you've chosen. So anyway, I just can't stress enough how much I enjoy following what Sean does on a daily basis. And you get a 2-week trial when you join his website, so you can see how he actually operates and decide whether the Binary Trade Group offers you what you want for your trading style. So with that being said, I want to go back to a couple of things using Sean's battle plan. Once again, I'm going to go back to the ES. Do you remember that he was talking about this area up here above the market being an area to potentially sell from prior to the FOMC announcement? Well, what I decided to do while Sean was doing is I took a couple of trades. And before I get to that, remember at the very beginning of this presentation when I was showing you, I took a couple of trades up here. And the first trade I took was a buy up there. And for this proposition to work, the marketplace would have had to have closed above this particular strike price by this expiration time. It didn't happen, and so as the marketplace was moved, that trade was moving against me. I exited out of that position for a partial loss. I also took a trade right here where I was selling the marketplace below this strike price, and the marketplace actually settled down here for a full profit. So I basically didn't take a full loss over on this one. I picked up a $55 profit on this one, which netted me about $25. And that was just playing around, but I kept an eye on that trade, and we wound up to the good, even though I was just showing you how to place a trade for illustrative purposes. Still wind up being okay when that trade expired at 12 o'clock noon. Okay, so going back to Sean's battle plan, this area up here was the area to sell from. So what I decided to do is place a trade with a 1 o'clock expiration. So there's 40 minutes left, 38 minutes left in this trade. And here we are right now. And basically what I'm banking on is that the marketplace will not cross this threshold. My risk was $80 to make $20 on this because I was so far protected in this trade. So there's a lot of risk premium in there. And I'm making this trade on the assumption that the marketplace is going to be nervous and kind of chop sideways going into the FOMC announcement. So I'm making the bet that the marketplace isn't going to do that. And what I've actually done here is I've used an iron butterfly strategy. I took a look at the market for the day. This is a 15-minute chart. And basically, if you drew support and resistance lines, I went well above resistance and sold from way up high. And then way down here, I've got a buy. So I've got basically, I'm betting that the marketplace is going to be range bound within a very large area. I'm thinking that the market's actually going to wind up doing this going into the FOMC announcement. And then all bets are off. So this expires at 1 o'clock. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'll pick up $20 on each side or $40, assuming that something wild doesn't happen before 1 o'clock. So we'll keep an eye on that. And that's basically a trade that's betting that the market's just going to chop sideways and be kind of nervous going into the FOMC announcement. Now, I also have a trade on based on the volatility of the markets after the FOMC announcement, and that's what I call a inverse currency pair. And with the inverse currency pair, what you're doing is you're taking two currency pairs where one currency, the US dollar in this example, is in the numerator of a Forex pair, and the other trade, the US dollar, is in the denominator. So I'm choosing the dollar yen and the pound dollar. And I decided that I'm going to buy both of them. If there's a lot of volatility, one of those trades is going to win and one is going to lose. But I've also applied not very much risk. In today's trade, I've applied $30 risk on each side. So right now, it's up here. Okay, right now I've got $30 risk on the pound dollar, and I've got $31.50 risk on the dollar yen. And my expiration on that is 3 o'clock. So the FOMC news comes in at 2 o'clock. I'm expecting the marketplace to react knee-jerk one way or the other. And what this trade is going to do is it's going to cover me on both ends of that particular trade. So we'll see what happens with that, but it's an interesting way to play the market. I'm going to go back to my presentation. We'll go back to that trade that I have with the iron butterfly, but we still have quite a bit of time, and we'll actually see how that thing's going to settle. For my daily trading plan, I trade a small account. My daily trading goal is $100, and I never risk more than 5% of my account balance. Any strategy that I follow, I test at least 20 times in demo before I go live with it. So everything that I'm going to talk about, I put many trades in demo before I think it was even worth talking about. And when I do a lot of trades in demo, it gives me the opportunity to get a handle on what the probability of success of that strategy is going to be. So in this iron butterfly strategy, I've risked $80 on both sides, or I put $160 at risk to make $20 or $40 in this particular butterfly trade. I need to know that strategy has got a better than 85% success rate. And from my practice with butterflies, I feel pretty good about that going into the FOMC. If a strategy has an 80% or greater success rate, I risk 70 or less. If it's 70% success rate, 60 or less, and so on. And I've got a bunch of strategies that go all through the day, from starting at 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock a.m. I've got a trade on the Germany 30, which is the DAX index. I call it the strudel strategy. I've got one from 9 to 11 on the FTSE 100. I call it the brunch strategy. 11 to 1, which is right now on the US 500. I call it the pastrami strategy. I'm going to see how that's playing out today. From 1 to 7, I've got something on the pound dollar or the pound euro called the afternoon delight strategy. It's a great strategy, very simple to execute. From 8 to 10 at night, I've got a strategy on the Nikkei index. And then I do trades on Wednesday and Thursday on crude and natural gas. I was actually doing some preparation for this presentation today, and I didn't trade the natural gas strategy, but it works pretty good. And if you go to tradingpub.com, all of my trading plan and all of my strategies are fully detailed. So it's a whole day full of trades. One of the trades four of those trades are what I call controlling candlestick strategies. I love them. The 7 to 9 German DAX strategy, the 9 to 11 FTSE 100 strategy, the 11 to 1 pastrami strategy, and the 8 to 10 Nikkei are all what I call controlling candlestick strategies. And what I mean by that is I go to the hourly charts, and the first hour basically controls the second hour. I'm going to show you what I mean by that on some charts. But what you want to do is you want to watch, for example, on the 8 to 10 Nikkei, the Japan 225 strategy, I call it the Kanpai strategy. You want to watch the 8 o'clock hourly candlestick develop. Is it developing bullish or bearish? And once you are convinced that candlestick is developing bullish, then you want to buy from the first strike price that Nadex gives you below the 8 o'clock opening price with a 10 o'clock expiration. Once you're absolutely convinced, 100% in your mind, that it's bearish, then you're going to sell from the first strike price above the 8 o'clock opening price. And you're going to place an order that suits your risk-reward preference. It could be risking 70 to make 30. It could be risking 50 to make 50 if you believe the marketplace has room to retrace and fill you. And if the market is on a really strong up or downtrend, there is an opportunity to make an out of the money trade where you risk very little for a potential high return. Now here's graphically how this whole thing works. Moving left to right across the board, we have on this day here, this green candlestick is the 8 o'clock hourly candlestick. You buy from below, and you'll notice that in the following hour, the next candlestick does not threaten the opening price. So this would be a buy. This one here was a doji. You'd be a little bit patient. You see it developing bullish. In this case, it was a slightly bearish doji. Strike price was up here. There was not enough momentum in the following hour to threaten it. That was also good. This is an example of one of the times where the pattern failed. The 8 o'clock candle developed bullish. The strike price was here, and the following candle breached it. So if you let it ride to expiration, you would have taken a full loss, or you would have had the opportunity to exit for a partial loss. And then finally, we have 8 o'clock hour bearish. And you might have been able to get about a $70 risk, $75 risk if you sold from up here. So I call it controlling candlesticks because more often than not, you're going to see that the 9 o'clock candlestick will not threaten the strike price if you follow the rules of this strategy. Does that make sense? Yes, Michael, this is Cam. Okay. Now, these strategies have been working extremely well, but lately they've been a little bit wonky. And there's a correlation with the success of these controlling candlestick patterns and the volatility index, or the VIX. In the past couple of days, these strategies have been less reliable. And when I mean less reliable, most of the time, these particular strategies have been highly reliable. I mean, the pattern basically repeats itself on a daily basis better than 70%, more between 80 and 90% of the time. This controlling candlestick happens in the 4 different strategies that I've been trading. But there's a real correlation between that and the volatility index. So right in this area right here, underneath these red lines, this red line right here is the 20 VIX. And that's really the upper end of where this thing is successful. The sweet spot is actually down between 13 and 17, where the VIX has been traveling for many months. Lately, with all of the panic in China and other geopolitical events, the VIX shot all the way up to 50. That's just sheer lunacy. Markets are extremely whippy, and it's made these trading plans less reliable. So I've kind of looked for out-of-the-money opportunities, but I've been less enthusiastic about trading these controlling candlestick strategies until the VIX gets back down in this nice little area where they typically behave a lot better. So, by the way, for anyone that's taken a look, I saw a remark earlier from Ron, I believe, about the Germany 30 and being able to find it. The Germany 30 and the FTSE right now this week are not available on Nadex. It's a contract rollover period. They'll be live next week. Okay, so I was talking earlier about the inverse currency trade that I've got in play waiting after the FOMC. What I'm doing with that is selecting the 3 o'clock p.m. expiration on the dollar yen and the pound dollar. And you can basically choose to whichever way you go, it doesn't matter. You just want to make sure that you either buy both of them or sell both of them. You don't want to buy one and sell the other, because then you're basically selling directionally. And what I'm trying to do is hedge my bet. I want to risk generally no more than $20 per trade. Today I chose 30. It will still give me an opportunity to pick up a $40 profit if this thing works out right. And if the market reacts sharply on the FOMC news, one trade is going to win and the other is going to lose. The strategy comes courtesy of Kari Lane from Wildcat Investment Strategies. And how to trade inverse currency pairs is in the books that I mentioned earlier in this presentation, and we'll provide you links on where to get them later as we wrap this presentation up. So basically, in summary, I'm going to go back to the markets after this. Nadex binary options can give you, a trading edge. You can trade outside of normal market trading hours. You can trade early in the morning. You can trade when you get home at work. There's strategies that have managed risk. Trades cannot run away from you. They're basically capped at $100 per contract, but you can scale up as many contracts as you want as long as it fits your account size and your risk reward tolerance. You can see your trades through expiration, or you can get out early. There's a low capital investment to start trading with Nadex. This is as little as $100. You're going to get a 2-week trading demo account if you go to tradingpub.com/demo. And when that 2-week period is up, you can choose to fund an account, place one trade, and you can extend that demo out to a year. Once again, these are the 2 books. This one, Nadex Warriors, just got released this week. It has 7 authors and 11 strategies in it. Trading Made Simple is another good book with about another dozen strategies in it. So there's a lot of information between these 2 books with very little overlap. And Yana, if you can put up the links to how to get those books. There she goes. And all you have to do is click your copy, and you're good to go. When you open up a live account with Nadex, just go to tradingpub.com/Nadex. It's very simple to open up accounts, to answer a couple questions. You fund it with as little as $100. If you do find a live Nadex account, make sure to send an email to support@tradingpub.com, because we have some other resources that we'll be happy to email you as well. So let me get out of this and go back to what's going on in the markets. Hey, really quickly, for those of you who haven't traded Nadex or didn't know about Nadex, have you all learned anything? Or has this made sense? Okay, in the meantime, excuse me, let me field a couple of questions. I mean, part of this is I want to make sure that I'm, informative enough here, and this is really second nature to me. I've been doing this I trade Nadex every day, and I'm very, very comfortable with it, but I want to make sure that people aren't lost in the process. Once again with Nadex, just to recap, on this trade that we have here, on this iron butterfly that we have going on, we have 21 minutes left in the trade. And I'm basically banking that the marketplace is going to remain range bound and just behave for me. It's going to remain range bound, and it's not going to cross this line. And at expiration, as long as it stays down, and right now it's heading back down, which is nice. It's behaving for me. This trade will be good. I risked $80 per contract to make 20. So if everything behaves on this one, I'll pick up $20. And by the way, if this particular trade turns around and starts to threaten this, as soon as it crosses this line, I could be down $40. I'm going to exit this trade and take a $40 loss. Because, whenever I have a lot of money at risk, it's just better off, cutting bait versus hoping that the marketplace is going to come back down and finish, and then I wind up losing $80. That just makes me cranky. So a lot of this comes down to, like any other trading endeavor, knowing when to cut your losses. And then down at the bottom of the screen, I'm selling from above. Excuse me, I'm buying from up here, and that marketplace is so far to the good. This marketplace would have to tank for that not to be good. So I'll pick up 20 on this side as well. And that's looking pretty good. And the inverse currency trade, it's just going to wind up doing its thing until the FOMC. I'm going to take a tiny loss on both sides. It'll be kind of negative until 2 o'clock, and then that's when I'm expecting that particular trade to take off. But I'm going to move over to that market, and let me go over to the pound dollar. 3 o'clock. And loading. Okay, so if the FOMC news is bearish on the US dollar index, then what's going to happen is the pound dollar is going to shoot up. And what I'm expecting to see at 2 o'clock is it to do that. And if that happens, then this strike may wind up being good. I take a full $70 profit, but the trade that I have going on the dollar yen, if it's roughly in the same range, will wind up doing this and losing, costing me $30. So I pick up $70 up here, I lose $30 down here, that nets me $40. And the only way that loses is if the FOMC statement has no impact on the market and it just continues to sort of chop sideways on both of those currency pairs. If that happens and there's no reaction to the FOMC statements or whatever Yellen has to say, then I'm just going to exit out for a loss on both ends. But the maximum risk exposure I have is $60. I can probably get out for half of that if the marketplace doesn't react the way I want it to. And by the way, if my voice is sounding a little bit hoarse, Austin is like the allergy capital of the world. Mold is pretty high, so if you hear me clearing my voice, it's just that it's starting to catch up to me. Sean says stay away from copper, corn, and soybeans. Okay, let's go back to the last 15 minutes of the trade. And I'm going to get out of the... Does the inverse currency pair make any sense to everybody? I'm basically risking very little, expecting volatility in the marketplace. And I'm hedging a marketplace reaction one way or the other. So, by the way, I do the same thing on Wednesday with crude oil. The crude oil inventory reports are released at 10:30. Right around 10:25, the marketplace is normally chopping sideways. I will place an out-of-the-money buy and an out-of-the-money sell, basically strangling both sides of the market. I'll go way up and buy. I'll go way down below and sell, usually risking $20 to make $80. And the crude oil inventory reports, once they're released, they usually miss estimates by a wide margin. And when that happens, the marketplace will scream upwards or tank. And when that happens, usually one of those trades will be good, the other one will lose, and it's a nice opportunity to profit. I do the same thing with natural gas reports on Thursday at 10:30 Eastern Time. So I just kind of check those particular. In fact, while I'm waiting for this thing to go, let's see what natural gas did today. I didn't even look at that because I was kind of nose down for this particular presentation. I go to commodities, binaries, natural gas. I'll go for 230. I just want to see what happened around 10:30. Okay. There's the 10:15. Let me move to the 5-minute charts and take a little closer look at this. Yeah, today would have been really kind of a loser on this. At 10:30, the news is released. It kind of moved up and then chopped sideways. And I would have had like a buy order way up here and a sell order way down here. And neither one of those would have been touched. I would have taken a loss on natural gas news today. So I'm kind of glad I didn't pay attention to it. Once again, this is the binary trade group page. And I just can't say enough for how good Sean is as a mentor, as a tutor, and how well he takes care of the people that are members of his group. Okay. Yeah, Raleigh mentioned that our next we're going to be doing these Nadex live trading events once a month. Our next one is going to be on Wednesday the 7th, and it's going to be at 9 o'clock Eastern time. I'll do a quick intro to Nadex for people that are new to the room, and I'm also going to make a trade on the crude oil inventory reports. Let's get out of natural gas. Go back to we're coming down the home stretch here on my little strangle trade. Excuse me, on my butterfly trade. The bottom strike price is good. I'm up 13 over there. I'm up 10 over here. So as time ends on a trade, if you're good, I mean, there's value to both ends here. So right now, I could exit both of these trades, pick up 23, which, is just like free money. Or I could let it expire, which I'm going to do, and pick up $40. And the way this market is behaving right now, within the next 12 minutes, I don't expect anything crazy to happen. But if it does, you'll watch me panic and exit. Okay, so with about 10 minutes left, I'm free for questions. Ask me anything. Did everyone understand my controlling candlestick strategies? They really work like a charm, and you can find them all in the books that Yana provided links for. I have them detailed down to the rules. Just understand that the only thing that's made them that I can tell that has made them act a little bit less reliably has been the big spike in the volatility index. For those of you who trade Nadex, has this presentation been valuable for you? Joel says, was there anything new presented in this presentation that you hadn't previously worked with? Yeah, I mean, with Nadex, what I like about it is, it gives you an opportunity to basically apply the same technical analysis that you would use trading futures or Forex to a market that has defined risk. And So with Nadex, you either have a directional strategy. Is this market on an uptrend? Can you capitalize on that uptrend? And what do you do with that information? Do you trade in the money from a position of safety like Sean does? Or is it moving with enough momentum that you can apply less risk for a greater reward? Is it on a strong uptrend? Is it on a strong downtrend? What kind of information do you have either on Thinkorswim charts or the Nadex charts to help you make that information? You can pull your indicators down. The only thing that's added differently is you have a defined period of time that you're working with, and you need to be reasonably certain that the marketplace is going to do what you think it's going to do within that period of time. In this particular case, it's really not about a big uptrend or a downtrend. I place this trade with the expectation that the marketplace is going to trade sideways, and I'm decided to straddle that marketplace with a butterfly, sell from above it and buy from below it, and hopefully this works out. Still looking okay. The marketplace is trying to threaten me a little bit on my sell strike. Sorry, I was getting a lot of feedback from little Facebook bleeps. Probably Sean's group going nuts talking about something. Which for Forex? Let me move to something else. I'll show a nice little Forex strategy. It's called the Afternoon Delight. And I credit Crystal Comber from Slick Trade for this particular strategy. I'm going to take the pound dollar. And what you want to do with this strategy is you want to select the 7 p.m. daily expiration. Really nice afternoon trade. And it's super, super simple to execute. So I'm pulling up this chart, and I'm going to load up the 15-minute chart. All you need is the 15-minute chart and the MACD. And what I'm looking for after 12 o'clock is a MACD crossover. And when that happens, I'm either going to buy or sell. I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. So right now, here's 12 o'clock. And I'm looking for the MACD basically to cross over from bearish to bullish. And if that crossover occurs, then what I'm going to do, let's say if the crossover occurs right here, that's where the MACD crossover happens from bearish to bullish. If it does happen, then I'm going to buy from the first strike price below where the crossover happens. And what happens typically, if this thing happens like at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, if that crossover occurs, the marketplace will then sort of drift up, and then as close as you get to 4 o'clock when the New York markets close, it just kind of drifts all the way to the finish line. It's almost like a motorboat that you have steered in a certain direction. Around 4 o'clock, you cut the engine, and there's just no momentum to drive the marketplace up or down. It just moves sideways in the direction that you bought it or sold it from. So if it's a crossover to the bulls, then I'm going to buy from below. If it's a crossover to the bears, I'm going to sell from above. And just let the marketplace drift this way, or buy it and let it drift that way. Great little strategy, very, very reliable. All you have to do is see a MACD crossover, and you're good to go. That works with the pound dollar. It also works with the euro dollar. So you can also, if you don't see a crossover happening with the pound dollar, check the euro dollar. You want to see a MACD crossover after 12 o'clock. Does that make sense? And that's part of my daily trading plan. I always look for an opportunity with that, and it rarely fails me. In fact, the last time that I saw it failed was the last time we did a live trading event, because that's just Murphy's Law of live trading events. But I would say well more than 90% of the time that strategy just works like clockwork. And Joel, the rules for that, once again, if you download either of the books, I have the afternoon delight strategy completely detailed with videos, which is another thing about these books. They are highly interactive. They have basically a couple of elements to them. They have what I call the game plan, which is the written strategy and what it's all about. And then there's the movie. There's a video that shows you exactly how that strategy plays out from the original author or presenter. Joel, you're saying there was no mention of a recross? You know, if it's getting really if it's crossing a lot, I keep out of the play. But I keep away from that. But usually after lunch, it's rare to see more than one cross. And usually, if it does, it doesn't have that much of an impact. But if you do feel like you're getting threatened, exit. But I've just never had a problem with that particular strategy. And yeah, and as Raphael said, do it in demo a couple times. I love that strategy. Okay, we're coming down to the wire. We got 3 minutes left in the trade. Let's see what's happening with our butterfly. Oh boy, that trade got threatened there for a second, and it still could be. It wicked up over there. So I'm just going to keep an eye on this. In the last 2 minutes, in fact, I'm just going to let this thing run. I could get killed on this, but the last 2 minutes of a Nadex trade is basically the dead period. If you look on the right side, you'll see that the sells and the buys have been grayed out. And that basically, Nadex does that to prevent manipulation within the final minutes of the trade. So right now, typically what's going to happen is this is going to quiet down, and it's averaging out the last trades that came through. And we've got 2 minutes left. Worst case scenario, this thing, the upper side of this trade loses, and I lose $80. And the bottom side is completely successful and to the good. And I pick up $20 for a net $60 loss. It's really interesting though, going into with an hour left going into the FOMC. I placed this trade with the expectation that the marketplace would be sideways. I really didn't expect to see this thing happening. But I am doing a presentation, and Murphy's Law just loves to kick in when I do presentations. So we've got 35 seconds left in this trade. Behave. This is where I like to kind of get up in my chair and do a flying elbow drop on that candlestick just to beat it down. Try to punish that candlestick. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Boom. And the trade is done. expired both sides in the money, picked up $40. So there was a trade that we did on the S&P 500 using a butterfly strategy. And guys, I want to thank you so much for coming on board. Are there any last minute questions before we close out this webinar? All right, well, thanks very much. One final plug, Yana, if you can put up the links to the two books. If you haven't had a chance to download them, please do them. You can have them compliments of us. They're both free, and you will pick up a lot of information on a number of strategies. Go to tradingpub.com/demo to download your demo account and apply those strategies. And you can follow Sean for 14 days by going to the binarytradegroup.com website and signing up. There's a lot of help available for new traders. And I think once you get involved trading Nadex, I think you can have a lot of fun. Thank you very much, and we will see you on Wednesday, the 7th of October, as I attempt to trade the crude oil news. Thank you very much.